Footy's back. That's right. Welcome to Footy Unfilterated. I'm your host, James. The lid remains on, Clements. And with me on the other side of this here screen is everyone's favourite beleaguered Essendon fan. You can't lose when you're on a bye. It's Jez. Jez, what's going on?
Like you said, Jim, it's probably the best week of the year. Neither of our teams lost on the weekend. How good is that? I'm going all right, mate.
Undefeated
I'm just
week.
trying to warm up from my weekend shenanigans up in, as you can see behind me there, that's the Gordon football ground, about half an hour out of Ballarat, where I went to watch my son play. And, it was freezing. Any thought that I had of wanting to pull the boots on again disappeared as soon as I saw what you can see behind me there. I went, nah, I'm good. I think I'm happily done with footy. I'm now a full-time spectator and happy with it. So, yeah, good weekend, interesting weekend of footy, Jim.
I feel cold and miserable just looking at that photo. It's just, it brings back way too many memories. Scars, I'll tell you, scars. Anyway, round 15 is done. Footy is fully back, which is good. We have a lot of news, actually. But we're going to wrap up round 15. We'll get our weekly awards. We'll get some yenas. We'll do some round 16 preview and picks. So I think we should just bloody well do it before I trade Jez to a different show like he's Giannis or something, and away we go. It's footy without the ball. It's footy unfiltered. Let's go.
Before you go, Jim, I just want to know, is there a version of that with Matty Cottrell playing the harmonica?
I've put the request in with the Carlton media team. We'll see what happens.
How good was that?
Next week's intro might just be that. Matty just
I reckon we'd get him
one.
on the show to do it live. Yeah.
That'd be good. One of my ginger cousins out there, call him Cousin Cotters, same as Angus Glover in the NBL, cousin
Gus.
Cousin Angus. Got to keep us all together. Right. I might trade you like a Giannis, but also make sure this week, of all weeks, is that we do not criticise the umps or the AFL or the match review panel because we might get fined. That's you know what's really good? Censorship. You know it's really good and completely above board. Usually when institutions, powerful institutions, ensure that they're cracking down on any sort of criticism, that always leads to good outcomes, you see, Jez. And
history shows
the AFL
shows as much, Jim. History shows as much.
Littered with great examples of this happening. Amazing. So was it Jai Simpkin last week got a slap across the wrist? Had to delete his Instagram post about Paul Curtis's 3-week ban for what seemed like completely valid, not at all pointed, just criticism of like, what are we doing here? Like voicing the concerns of players, I feel like should actually be taken with some sort of degree of actual, seriousness. Yes. He is an actual player. And if he's actually going, we don't have much faith in this system, you should probably not go, oh, you can't say that. You should say, all right, what's happening? How do we fix this? Rather than don't say anything, nothing to see here, move along. Right?
Quite interesting that they're pulling up the players when I was listening to a game on Triple M and they obviously have the umps mic'd up, which is, take it or leave it. They certainly think it's amazing because they mention it every time you hear the umpire talk. But anyway, I heard an umpire telling the ruckman where to stand, not to go too far back. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure the umpire's job is to watch the play and call the free kicks. Maybe just shut up and do that. They spend a lot of time talking when they could be blowing their whistle. Maybe if the AFL said, hang on a minute, maybe we're turning our umpires into micromanagers, let's pull it back and make them what they are, umpires. People won't criticise them. Well, let's be honest, people are going to criticise them. It doesn't matter whether it's players, coaches, media, fans, experts like us. Everyone is going to criticise umpires. It doesn't matter what level it is, whether it's under nine soccer, whether it's a game of marbles between two people in a nursing home. People are going to, if there's a referee or an umpire, people are going to criticise. I think we just need to accept that that is going to happen and just take care of the stuff that goes too far. Coming out and saying the umpires did a poor job or the tribunal got it wrong, it's an opinion. The whole industry is based on opinions now, more so than facts, I think. So the AFL have got no place, and as you said, Jim, it's historically proven that the way they're going about it definitely works. They've just got no place on making these sort of rules when they can't get shit right at home. So
it is genuinely odd. Like, I don't think it's their job to be policing that sort of stuff, right? Like, they could also be like, hey, look, the umpires, what they usually do is then whip out the old, we've got like a 94% hit rate of like optimism and great things going on about like the umpires, like their decision making and all this sort of stuff. But it just sort of speaks to the wider AFL sort of approach, right? And I think you hit the nail on the head. Just the micromanagement aspect of it is crazy. And so this week it also came out that they got Con Samaras, political sort of pundit, to chat to all the CEOs and all the teams essentially about the way that society is sort of, is changing underneath the AFL and like youth participation and like the fact that it is no guarantee that you have like an inbuilt audience from here on out, right? Like the immigration levels, like where it was used for assimilation a lot of the time and like, post World War II, you sort of look at the Western, Eastern European sort of immigration stuff and like that was a way of assimilating into Australian culture back then. And that's why you've got such like pretty interesting sort of cultural divides in some of the clubs, looking at Carlton. But also, like, I always love it, when people go, oh, you're from Ballarat, you must go for the Western Bulldogs. I'm like, that has never made sense to me ever. Like, they're not from Ballarat, you see. But his point was sort of this larger societal shift about like, all right, what you need to be doing is obviously you're competing with every other global sport, not just the NRL, not just soccer, not just
let's be honest. We're not competing with the NRL. On our worst day, we've got them covered. But that's a fact.
But that's the truth. But their ratings are still going absolutely massive because they've got this built audience. The big problem is they have like no attendance and like the AFL smashes it in attendance. The problem is it won't smash it in attendance if it continues to be stand rules, micromanagement, incredibly expensive booze that's usually bloody mid-strength anyway. And the cost of going to the footy is just astronomical. Like it costs. So we're taking the two kids. First time I think Dash, the baby, has gone to a game. And it's sort of a bit of a risky one, but I'm like, oh, God, we can get like tickets on the fence at Marvel. And then you're like, even with my member upgrade, Jack's, the oldest one's member upgrade, that is $200. You're like, gosh, that's expensive.
That is ridiculous.
Right?
That's what that is.
It's chaos.
That's what you would pay even 5 years ago for being a non-member for those type of seats. It's risen. I'll put my hand up. I am not an Essendon member anymore because I don't see the value in it, to be honest. Every year for the last 10 years, you get less value for money with your membership. They've pulled I don't know how Carlton do it, but Essendon have pulled they used to give you a scarf or something every year up until I think it was about 5 years ago. Now it's only for members who hit certain milestones. So they will let you they'll give you access to buy the scarf. But so before that, I think I'd been a member for 22 years, something like that, 22 years straight. And every year they kept saying, oh, it's going to cost you this much extra but you don't get this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay, so I'm paying more for less. You know what? I'd rather give my money to for example, a local football club. They get not, and I
Yeah.
know for a fact they don't get anywhere near the funding that they should. So the 2, 3, 4, $500 that I might spend a year on the footy, I now put into my boys' footy clubs. I'll spend the money there.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So, and like you look at this and they're like, well, all right, how are we getting in front of like, the next generations and like trying to grow the game as much as we can. And like everybody's just like trying to bash them over the head. Grassroots, 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 you idiots. Like, I don't know, maybe a team in Tassie and we'll force them to build a $2.5 billion stadium. And everyone's like, that's what? What are you on about, you idiots? So,
and you know what we need to do next, Jim? We need to go to India.
India is obviously the big one. So with all this in mind, so the AFL's navel gazing sort of shoot themselves in the foot every time they turn around. Basically, the way I always describe them is Sideshow Bob and the Rakes. Right? It doesn't matter which way they go. It's Andrew Dillon and his coterie of suckholes. So this is how it works. And you go, okay, this shouldn't be so difficult, but you're making it harder on yourselves. India's a one thing. They're like, oh, we're trying to grow participation rates. Like, good luck, right? Great. That's, I'm sure, to go just as well as it went in China and New Zealand. And here we are. But it's like, oh, the NRL went to America. And it's like, and you know what Americans care about? Not the NRL.
They don't even care about soccer, and they've got the biggest tournament in the world there.
The fifth major sport. But anyway, the weird thing is, so the other big news that came out the last couple of days is with the introduction of Tassie, the AFL is like, hey, let's break some stuff and fix some stuff that wasn't broken, and we need a new schedule. And everyone went, oh yeah? This is brought to you by the team who brought you round zero and really nailed that one. Cool. I'm sure you guys have got this completely under control. Oh, no, they don't. So we've got 4 options, Jez. How? Just imagine if you just played every team before you played the second game against some of the teams. Just imagine just playing the entire competition once and then cycling back for another couple of games. Just imagine it. Anyway, option 1, 22 games per season and then finals, but no gather round. Morons. Like, why even present that, you idiots? Option 2, absolutely going to happen. 24 games, then we play finals. We have 2 neutral rounds, including gather round. The other one would likely be some sort of approximation of round 0.
Probably in Tassie.
Just call it round 1. I don't know. Do it in Tassie, do something weird, do something fun. You know, my vibe, just do community round. We're playing in every state over the weekend in the sticks. It's going to be awesome. Give back
rotated each year
to the locals. Boom. Option 3, 20 games. Then you play a group stage over 3 weeks, and then you play finals. This is the Jared Waitley one in my brain.
He's got his name written all over it.
It's for the dorks. 4 groups of 4 would play in their group stage, and then a group of 3, which I think is the bottom 3, play for draft positions. You know what players don't care about? Draft positions, Jez. They do not care. You're making them play dead rubbers. This is just stupid. Anyway, the 4 groups of 4 would basically be battling for essentially like ladder position. And as soon as you spend, and like, you know, my rule of thumb with this sort of stuff, if you spend more than like 1 sentence explaining it, you've already lost and it's stupid. So quit it. The 4th option is 20 games, then finals, but we'll play a 3-week mid-season tournament because it's going great. Everywhere else they do that. It's like the FA Cup. It's not like the FA Cup. Shut up, you morons. Stop trying to do this. Mid-season cups. The NBA one is fine because they finally went, oh, right, what we need to do is just carve out during the regular season the count for regular season games that will make them special. And we'll do it Tuesdays and Fridays or whatever, Tuesdays and Thursdays, Wednesdays and whatever.
And it's also a sport like soccer that you can play multiple games in a week because it is less taxing on the body. Games like NRL, NFL, AFL, you can't do that because the players need recovery time, which is why the NRL is basically unwatchable the weekends around State of Origin. I haven't followed. I used to watch a bit of NRL, but I haven't for years. But whenever the Origin breaks came along, no one gave a crap about what their team was doing on the weekend. They were only worried about New South Wales or Queensland and how the players pulled up and are they going to be available for the next Origin. They couldn't care less. And then once that's done with, then all of a sudden they go, oh yeah, by the way, we support the Broncos or the Storm or whoever. And then they worry about that. So we just, it's right there in front of us. We've already done it this year. State of Origin. Just work something out for State of Origin.
See, and this is it. Like, just why I do like that they sort of like everyone sort of freaked out and went, oh, the group stage sounds interesting, and then they sort of dug into it and went, oh, we'll investigate this further, but we're just going to go with option B. The mid-season tournament, though, I did love some of the phrasing where it's like they take a mid-season pause. The teams battle it out for a separate mid-year prize with a strong focus on appealing to younger fans. You know what younger fans like, Jez? Not crappy, annoying gimmicks. That's actually probably their least favorite of things. Usually, they're just like, what's good? Is this interesting? Make it interesting and make it good, and that's about it. So, I don't know. We're just sort of bending over backwards to sort of put our head up our own rear, I think, at this point. So, great job, AFL. Just make it 24 games and just do 2 rounds of fun, neutral stuff, and it's not rocket surgery. Right. Other stuff. I'm so sick of moaning about the AFL, but they just make it so easy.
They don't give you much choice, do they?
They don't. They don't do too much well. I did, however, have like a hang with some of the Brunswick dads. So there was an Oz kick on a Friday night, and then there was also like the school dads hangs that we do every so often. Great bunch of gentlemen, very fun, very good. You just end up drinking 1 million beers and talking.
Seems to be a theme with you, Jim.
And whatever. Seemingly. And a few of them are just like, yeah, the AFL is an absolute mess. And a couple of them, look, you know, at least they've done Oz kick right. And I'm like, yes, they have done Oz kick right. Yep. Outside of that, there's not a giant amount that you can really point to go, whoo, nailed that. Anyway, rest of the news very quickly. Taylor Adams retired after trying to come back from his Achilles and his calf, and then another setback, just basically put paid to that, which sort of stinks. Didn't play this year. 229 games in the end, Jess, for 3 clubs.
Brisbane, GWS, sorry. Yeah, GWS, Collingwood and the Swans. Although he wouldn't have played double figures at the Swans, surely.
I don't know what he ended up playing, but a bit of a shame, like just completely derailed by injury at the back end of his career, obviously. We'll stick on the injury train.
Jeez.
Cherry broke his jaw a little bit. They're like, yeah, he's not going to play this week. And you're like, oh, I'd hope not.
No.
Jeez. And then also I think they look like he's doubtful for the week after. And I'm like, aha, this is great for Supercoach because having just traded him in, I feel like a brain genius. Dan Rioli also got a broken jaw. He's out for a few more weeks than that, I think. It sounded a little bit worse than Cherry's fracture. Not great. And then you had the St Kilda disaster where Jack Sinclair goes off calf. They were worried about his Achilles there for a bit, but it seemingly just confirmed it's a calf, which is all good. But, yeah, might still miss the rest of the season. TDK had a couple of broken ribs and a collapsed lung. That was not great. And also, I think Rowan Marshall also hurt his shoulder in the same game as well. I think he wasn't too bad, but jeez.
Yeah. And I think it was carnage, really. That game in particular was huge, but he had Asava Radaglia did his knee, and he was in a lot of pain, so he's gone for the year. Jarman Impey, 2 or 3 weeks for him. Toby Pink is done for the season. It's getting to that point where I think there's going to be some players who are just really unlucky, and then there's going to be those ones that they're like, well, he could play, but we're also sitting 16th. Maybe he should go and have surgery.
Yeah.
So I think we're getting closer to that stage of the year.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of ducking and diving on the and hoping for the best from here on out, from round 16 onwards, right? With a couple of months of footy left. Jaden Laverty, out for a month with a hammy. Jesse Hogan hurt his finger as well. So, yeah, it's not great. The good news, though, is Errol is looking to be back this week, which is very
yes, much needed.
I love Errol. Absolutely.
And I think there was Tom McCartan as well you've got there, Jim, which is good news.
Yep. He's
really good news.
Very good. Be nice if we got Jake Wiedering back from his concussion as well, but at the same time, we're doing okay. So, I don't know. But, yeah, speaking of which, I mean, if you're not in purple, put your hand up if you've got the second longest or the longest win streak in the there it is. Hey, it's Carlton with 5 straight, which is very cool. And
we're on a 1-game not losing streak.
Good.
1 week.
I think, as has been pointed out, the simple idea of like the fact that Voss had the Blues at 1-9, and now they've just won 5 straight. At some point, you just go, "Oh, yeah." I think it might have been Voss. I think it might have been. Right. Let's wrap up round 15 very quickly because it feels a very long time ago. I did drink a lot over the weekend, so it's very muddled in my brain. Thursday, Freo Geelong played an absolute belter, 99-90. The Dockers, Wharfie time. What a game this was. The second half was absolutely electric. The Cats, what are you doing? I feel like they very much missed Tom Stewart in that game, Jez. You just sort of watch going, oh, just a bit rabbly down back at times. And, yeah, like completely turning around in the second half. Did Freo, stayed up and held on. And I'm going to talk about one of their dudes who, my good mate Luke Jackson, who was absolutely missive. So that was pretty good.
Another pretty big out for the Cats too. Bailey Smith didn't play, and they certainly missed him. I actually thought for a bit there, up to half time, that this might be the one, that this might be the game that ends the streak. But Fremantle have got an answer for everything, Jim.
Murphy Reed's awesome.
Alex Pearce, Captain Courageous, yeah.
Was that was his 150th as well, I think, wasn't it, Alex Pearce?
The only thing that I can see, and I thought this was going to be the game, is their inaccurate kicking. They always seem to have Amos and Tracy and these guys kicking 3 goals, 4. One game they're actually going to kick straight, and they're going to win by 200 points. And it'll probably be if they play Essendon again. But they've won while still not kicking straight for almost the whole season. It's crazy. So, and I thought that this week it looked like for a while, because I think they kicked something like, they were like 3 goals 9 or something early in the second quarter. I thought, and they were missing some absolute, just sodas at one point. And you thought, they're going to start kicking these, or Geelong are going to run away with it. And then they did start kicking them, and Geelong didn't run away with it. As a matter of fact, they did the opposite.
Jai missed by name, Jai missed by nature as well. He's breaking my heart week in, week out. I love him, but he can't. Oh,
he's going to kick 10 one day.
Friday night, he will, and hopefully I'll have actually backed it when he's done that. My beloved Suns, breaking hearts, 97, Hawthorn 113. A very fun game that I was basically just like off at halftime, and then you're like, oh, hang on a second. They came flying back, but it just wasn't enough. Even above the 27th parallel, which gives me a lot of pause now about my beloved Suns.
Or as someone commented on the power rankings, your beloved Fold Coast Suns, which I quite enjoyed.
Yep. Fold Coast Suns is pretty good. I'm like,
I think that was Dave Klitsch. So, and he's another Gold Coast man as well. So, that's fair call there. I like that one. On you, Dave.
Tough scenes, but
accurate.
Yeah, I think it's just my grown adult son, Jed Walter, was still pretty good. Like, they just, I don't know, there is something completely off about that team at the moment after the way they started, the way they've sort of gone about this. It's, I don't know. This is it. Petrarca being the through line here. We talked about it last week. There's like Suddenly the leaks are happening. There's like weird disconnect between coaches and players. And I don't know. That happened at Melbourne last year.
It is interesting though, Jim. If
Just
you look at the players that went out, Butterick, Fiorini, Ned Flanders, who was the other one?
Ainsworth.
I think they're missing them now more than they thought they would. And they were those glue players that sort of, they didn't do the 30 and 3 goals and they didn't do the flashy, but they did all the bits, which is what they're now doing for their respective, except for stupid sexy Flanders. He's not doing much at all. But these other three players are doing pretty much what they were doing for the Gold Coast at their respective clubs. Well, actually, Friarini's not either. He's injured as well. But Butterick, okay, let me start again. Butterick and Ainsworth are doing pretty much what they would have been doing for the Gold Coast, and it's having, now that Carlton are on their never going to lose again streak, he's having an impact in, not in a superstar take the game on the by the scruff of it, but he's doing what he needs to do. Butterick's done it all season. And I think maybe if they had kept maybe one or two of these guys, probably those two I just mentioned, maybe they'd have a little bit more cohesion. But yeah.
Yep.
They've still got Jamara, though.
Like they've just, Rowland took and just this weird sort of lack of toughness somehow in the middle, and it just doesn't make much sense. Anyway, Adelaide took care of the D's 79-62 because Melbourne weren't playing at the MCG and therefore they don't win.
Correct.
They are 0-4 away from the G this year. This game rocked, however. This was awesome. Like we were watching this before we went out to the pub and watched the Blues game, and it was a rollicking affair. I love a good rollicking affair. You've got Thriller taking a massive grab late in the Rochelle goal to seal it all. The D's, it is weird. Like Carlton were kind of like this for a little while back when they were good 2 years ago. And like they looked so comfortable on the G and looked so uncomfortable literally everywhere else because like it fit their game. And yeah, it's weird how the Melbourne like are in the same sort of boat, right? Where very clearly the G, the way they play there, it just fits what they do just absolutely perfectly, and they've just got to adapt that to everything else, right? So, but this was really, really good, and I think it's really good for Adelaide to sort of get a couple of these good wins under their belt because, they were top of the ladder last year, and they probably had too much expectation on the shoulders. If they're kind of just going to keep on rolling like this, I think it's good. Stay under the radar just that little bit.
And aside from a goal after the siren, it was a 11-point game, really. And Melbourne, even with Cozzy basically being, I think he went to the MCG instead of Adelaide Oval. I think Melbourne is still a good side. I think it's going to be a season of learning because they've come from nowhere. But if they just win their MCG games, they'll be fine. They are going to have to obviously win away if they want to feature, past week 1 or 2 of September. But yeah, I think it was definitely a cracker of a game, and Adelaide are just building nicely, Jim. They're just building nicely.
They are. They really are. Rochelle and Rankin sort of giving them just a little bit of a spark up forward. My boy Hugo Hawker causing all sorts of havoc as well. He was really good again. Anyway, the big one on the weekend. It's a big 88-65. The Blues beat GWS.
The Bowl.
I love Matty Cottrell, my beloved cousin Cotters. I think I was on this show last week, right? Explaining how was it round 17, 24 was exactly when everything went pear-shaped for the Blues. And then hoping as hope that this would be the exact opposite. And it wasn't quite the exact opposite, but it was the opposite of the way they've kind of gone about these games all season, and they held on and won in slightly convincing fashion in the end because they actually closed it out really strongly after absolutely trying their hardest to bottle it and going into the fourth quarter bloody tied, Jez, and then pulled it out on your boy Jim's birthday of all things I did not expect. 12 months ago, they lost to the Roos at the MCG, and I was sitting there with my old man and the eldest Squid, just devastated, going, "That's the season. We're done."
I feel sorry for
right,
the
boys.
Squid having to
Let's
be
go.
at the footy with two grown men bawling their eyes out.
There's a lot of tears that day, and then the Squid got home and cried too. The way they started that fourth quarter, like the Sammy Walsh goal and the Will Hayward goal, just absolutely awesome. And it came after like a really disappointing end of the third quarter with the sprayed shot. And then they just held on. It was remarkable. The Harry Mackay, like the Cotter's goal, and then the Harry Mackay clunker, and then just absolutely nailing a beautiful kick to pretty much seal it, was just so unexpected. Yeah. I'm just like, they will somehow just bottle this. And the way that they'd sort of capitulate in the back half of the third quarter, you're like, oh, God, really? Really? This is what we're going to do on my birthday? Come on. Sitting there full of barbecued meats, just angry at the world. And then they pulled it off. It was awesome. Like there's sort of like just, it is amazing to watch the sort of slight differences in your team as well, right? Like the way they use the ball allows their defense to get set when they do eventually sort of, if there's a turnover or whatever. And that worked really, really well against GWS with their fleet of, decent midfielders too. The one thing that still gets me out of this game is that Finn Callahan mark where it was spoiled off his teammate's chest. He caught it and they paid a mark to Finn Callahan. Jez, I still...
stop. You'll get fined.
Still don't know what
happened. You'll get fined. Jim, stop. Yeah. No. I think that's a little bit of a fine there.
All right, that's a little fun. Didn't we also get an extra 39 seconds in this game out of nowhere too? So we're doing.
They must have grabbed the 39 seconds they missed in the last 2 weeks and just said, "Oh, we'll put it there, and then we're back to even." Look, the best thing about this, and I hate how much I'm enjoying watching Carlton, is that they're playing with purpose now. Where under Voss they were playing with. I think they were playing with a porpoise, which is obviously a dolphin-like creature. But they've got a plan, and they're playing to it. So it just goes to show that maybe if Voss had a plan, But the best thing about their winning streak is that they're going to lose, and it's probably going to cost them. And as an Essendon supporter, I can't wait.
The big thing is, I think Josh Fraser is he's so process orientated, right? He's like literally bang on about every day we come in here, we're getting better at stuff and we know our roles. And that's all I want these guys to know is to know their roles and what they do when things are happening this way. There is a plan. They do adapt. George Hill has come back into the team. I never knew why he was dropped, and he's been absolutely unreal. Newman has come back. He's looked amazing as well. But they also got Blake Acres is back in the team, and Cher has sort of gotten a few games under his belt at some point as well. And just that sort of combo of Acres just being good again. You're like, oh, that helped. But it's also, again, purposeful, right? It's Will Hayward has sort of figured out how to fit into this scheme, and Ainsworth and Cotter's coming back into the team. Just gives them a wild card. So, look, 5 wins on the trot. I don't know how long it'll last. Hopefully they win this week because I'll be there with the Squid. But
see what happens.
Anyway, good win. Collingwood 78, Port 52. Power. They
are garbage.
Yeah, this was the Jordan De Goey game, the Dacos game. Not much else really going on there for the Power. This was a bit of a weird one. That third quarter where De Goey just goes, "Oh, right, can we just win this one already?" You're like, all right, he's going to do the damn thing. And they did the damn thing. And it's a weird one. There wasn't too many people at this game either, Jets.
No, the weather was ordinary. I think the football, I didn't watch. I watched a little bit of it here and there, but listened to probably most of it. From all I heard, it was not great footy either. So I think that's where these two teams are at. I've been saying, and I'll keep saying, Port aren't a great team. I think they've played some games they've managed to bring the better opposition down to their level. And they've obviously taken advantage of a couple of ordinary teams in Essendon and West Coast to pinch a few wins there. But even then, they didn't do that very convincingly. And Collingwood are a team on the way down. They're, every game they play with this list and the core of the list that's, I think, an average age of 30 plus, they're aging very quickly. So I think this sort of game helps them because it was almost a bruise-free game, I guess you could say, for aging bodies. And aside from, young Nick Dacos there and, 41 touches, which just seems like he's doing that every third week now, there wasn't many highlights from this. I think Jeremy Howe tried to take Mark of the Year, and that was about it.
Well, Power didn't kick a goal in the second half, and that's never that good.
And usually. Now they've come out with 2 or 3 injuries from the game that are and not they're injuries that are gonna hurt them. Radaglia was one of the shining lights for them. He was having a career year, as they like to say. And now that career year is done, unfortunately, which as much as you have these players that you go, he's ordinary and all that, you'd never like seeing any player do that. And he was in agony, like he was on the ground screaming. So he's obviously done. Why do things by halves, Jim? He's gone and done it proper. So
there's the patella tendon gone, so it's not great. But no goals kicked in the fourth quarter, so you could have turned this off and you would have been laughing at 3/4 times. Sunday, the Tigers got rolled by the Roos, 73-48. Again, not a real sort of banner contest. The Tigers sort of gave us a little bit of something early, but not much. And then
North did enough. North did enough.
It was a bit of a weird one because. What was it? I think it was either tied or the Tigers were up at quarter time, maybe by like 8 points or something. And then the Roos sort of just got enough control and then just blew them away in the second half.
And again, 22 at half time. I looked at the score and went, is that right? Is it? Are they sure they haven't done what they do in country footy and accidentally put the Q2 when it's actually Q1? No, it was right, and it was a garbage. I actually listened to this one on SEN. I thought I couldn't get it up on Triple M, and I listened to it. And geez, that was hard, Jim. That was so hard. They could not find a positive thing to say about the game. They were struggling, and I'd had enough of them. And then when they started telling me the score in the World Cup, I was like, right, see yous.
The one, the 0 goals in the third quarter for the Tigers, and they just got steamrolled. And the Roos came to life eventually, so good on them.
Probably should have won this one by a lot more. Like if they want to be a genuine chance at finals and actually, I think I heard someone say they've got to stop playing like a team that's rebuilding. They've actually got to start having the mindset of a team that's going for finals because they're still playing like they're in a, that they're going to get assistance from the AFL again. That's the sort of mindset they've still got. So they need to flick the thinking into we're not that, bottom dwelling team anymore. We're a actual team that's on the way up. They need to start playing like it. And that game was probably one where they needed to really, really put the foot down, get a big percentage booster, play some of their forwards into form, play some of their defenders into form, but they just didn't do it. So I think they're going to have. They'll probably say at the end of the year that they've had a good season, but I think they could have had a lot better season, especially to date.
Yep. They were only 18.5-point favourites as well, and they only won by 25. So they did cover, but not wildly convincingly. And then finally, and actually much more, this was a brutal watch. 83-61, the Dogs beat the Saints. A very, this was a bit of a tough one. You got Naz flipping the bird to the supporters. You got fined $1,000 for that.
He can afford it, let's be honest.
Of all the people out there, he can afford it, right? He's okay. But the Dogs, I think this was just an important sort of bounce back. Oh, God, Bont is still amazing. Yeah, we're a good team. We believe again we can actually beat the teams that we should beat. Remember that? Oh, that's what we should be doing. Because, yeah, they sort of just put him to the sword in the fourth quarter, even though it sort of stayed close the entire time. And then they sort of just got him. The Artie Jones goal at the start of the fourth, I remember watching that and just going, all right, that might be the start. And then it was bang, bang, Rory Lobb goals. The Norton one to basically seal it all, and you're all over Red Rover. Just the Saints, the injury toll sort of just got him in the end, right? Like just when you're down TDK, you don't have Sinclair. Like Naz was still really, really, really good. What did he have? 44. Like 40 something? 44. It's just absurd. But yeah, the Saints, I'm going to talk about them again in a second, but
I think I think with that injury list just from Saturday alone, they probably needed to find a way to win that game, because I think that's probably going to, especially with the Dogs now getting that leg up on them, Carlton, coming hard. You've got this group of, as we were talking about last week, now that it's a 10, it's pretty much down to 14, almost 15, have still got a shot at making it into the wild cards. So St Kilda have really they're going to have to not put too many, foots wrong for the rest of the season. Jez just learned how to talk, by the way. I probably sound like what your young fella sounds like sometimes. That's my foot's, Dad. I think they're going to struggle now. I really think they're going to struggle going for the rest of the season. So I haven't had a look at what their draw's like, but yeah, it's not going to be good for them. They're going to have to win and win well.
Yeah, they're at Marvel. I don't think they leave the state the rest of the season.
Oh, they got the Collingwood draw.
They have also lost 4.
Yeah.
They do have the Collingwood draw, but it's like all at Marvel. So yeah, I think they've lost 4 of their last 5, and they've all been to fairly decent teams. I think it was Freo, Hawthorn, Sydney, in that awesome belter of a Friday night game or whatever. They beat the Giants. No, they lose to the Dogs. Now they get a bye. So
probably a good time for a bye.
You get that on the big job. I think that was the one thing we didn't mention with Melbourne as well. They're the only team. They're the team that has gone the longest without a bye so far this season, with the round 16 bye, but not having one earlier by participating in round 0. So, yeah, probably could have seen that one maybe coming a little bit. But anyway, let us do some Footy Unfilterated awards. Gablett Areas, best on ground of the week. I had 2 that stood out massively to me. Luke Jackson had a career-high 28 touches. He kicked 3 goals, 15 contested possessions, 9 tackles, and 9 score involvements.
He was
bad,
awesome.
Good size. He was so good. I don't know if we need to call him the unicorn as many times as we do during commentary, though.
Yeah.
It's like, I get it. He's unique. But if you call everyone a bloody unicorn, you know what they're not? Unique. So I think we can do better.
That falls under the same category as GOAT for me.
Yep, GOAT's a bit silly too. Jordan Goey, and absolutely turned that game on Saturday night. He was absolutely awesome. It was a bit of a throwback. 26 touches, 3 goals, 9 inside 50s, and 8 score involvements as well. Basically, he and Dacos completely shifted the tenor of that game, and they just sort of ended up blowing them away, obviously, with the Power not kicking a goal in the second half. So, yeah, Jordan Goey, Luke Jackson for me, Gablett Areas. How about you there, Jez?
I've sort of got a couple there. I think your boy Sam Walsh, he was good, and one of the things that stood out was that his disposal efficiency was pretty high. He's normally hovering around that 50, 60%. It was up at 79%, and only 2 turnovers, Jim. That's been one of the big knocks on his game, is the turnovers. And for him to only have 2, he had 34, kicked the goal, 9 score involvements. It's sort of a game that you don't see that often from. He's awesome at getting the footy, and he's a workhorse, but it's usually at the expense of his disposal, but on the weekend he was pretty good. Yeah, I just had a few to point out as well. There was 4 players with 40-plus touches this week. So we had Nicky
Holy
D
moly.
had 41. Caleb Daniel, the little helmet, he had 40. Noah Anderson, 43 for the Suns, and Naz, 44 for the Saints. Obviously, the latter two couldn't get their teams over the line, but I would like to see if there was another round where we had so many players with 40 plus. So it's
Pretty
interesting.
good. That's
yeah.
epic.
Interesting.
Yeah, we definitely need like AFL stat muse or something that AFL tables run or something, and then we'll be able to just figure that out. But that's a good one. Who are we buying a beer this week? I'm buying one for Josh Fraser because 5 on the trot is just ridiculous. As the worm was turning in that game, I'm there with my old man just going, well, classic Carl. Oh, my God, they've turned it around. And I still love that he's just sort of playing a straight bat. And like, yeah, I'm not putting my hand up for the coaching gig. I'm just here to just run this season through, get these guys pointing in the right direction. That's my entire job. I'm going to do my job. I think
he is putting his hand up, but without actually putting his hand up, because you'd be silly to not be wanting him to hang around, especially if he keeps going the direction he is. Yeah.
Yep. How about you, Jess?
Well, only because I haven't found another place to mention him, but I'm going to buy Shy Bolton a beer for taking what is probably Mark of the Year. That was
very
awesome.
good.
That was so good. So for me, I'm going to buy him a beer that he can have when he finally comes down from taking that hanger.
He was like parallel to the ground,
so
like a half meter off.
So good.
Unreal. Yeah. What a mark. The Ben Mackay Memorial Spud of the Week. I'm going to give this one to Bo McCreary. Half ginger brethren, I reckon. Need to put him on the side of a carton of milk, I reckon, because he has gone completely missing like the last month and a half.
Because he cut his hair.
This is it. I think we talked about this. I think, was it around? Was it? Which game was it where he came out and he had cut his hair and you're like, don't do that.
And he hasn't been the same since.
You're Bo McCreary. And he's kicked 1 goal, I think, in the last 6 weeks, which is crazy. Because he's so important to that sort of run and carry game of theirs. And like he'll just come streaking up a wing and boot an awesome, massive goal. And you're like, that's what Bo McCreary does.
The Bo McCreary of Bo McCreary's. But he's turned into Ben Mackay of Bo McCreary's.
That's it. That's what Bo McCreary does. All right. How about you, Jez? Who's your Ben Mackay Memorial Spud of the Week?
Well, not Ben Mackay, believe it or not, for this week anyway. I've got a couple, and I think he was injured, but he was injured late in the game. He did play 80% of the time on ground. That was Flying Ryan. He was held to 6 disposals and goalless by Buku Kamas. So he's one, and I'm giving him a special mention because he did go off the ground injured in the last quarter. But for me, he played enough of the game and got absolutely towed up. But the other one, and I love giving this bloke Spud of the Week, is Jake Stringer. He was the package that was marked return to sender, and then we'd probably return him back again. But 7 disposals, 0 goals. It's what you get with Jake Stringer. When you need him, he's not there. So
I love that. Does that mean he goes back to the Dogs then if he's returned to sender?
So we'll just stick a divert sticker and let him go. So he can sit in a depot till someone collects him.
Love it. Better than Bootsma for this week. I've got 2. I could just do Harry Dean each time he plays, I reckon. He was awesome on the weekend. Without Weeders there as well. He's been really, really good the last few weeks, so a bit of shine there. But Cooper Trembath, another one of my favourites. 4 goals, absolutely dominated. He was fantastic. I love it's such a weirdly unique situation what the Roos have been rolling out there each week with, where it's like Goad or Trembath going to the centre to take the centre bounces and like jumping all over someone like Nank and then letting do all the work around the ground. And you're like, this is working because then Trembath goes forward, boots 4 goals. Is like this perfect, like crazy aerial threat next to Larky, and you're like, hell yeah. And that's, I just want to see like the Roos just, again, as you hit on perfectly, right? Just play with a bit of actual confidence and belief. And he is an absolute weapon. I love me
And
some
he's going
Cooper
to play a
Trimble.
lot
So
more ruck minutes over the next probably
a couple of weeks. Yeah.
4 weeks. Like that one.
Yep. How about you there, Jess?
Another one from the Fremantle game. I'll hold this one for a sec. I've got a couple of special mentions. There was a young fella who was playing for Carlton, Billy Wilson, who I thought it was very interesting that he's been entrusted with the kicking duties for a bloke who's only played a handful of games. So I wanted a special mention to him. I think it's one of those things in all levels of footy that you've got to be a very reliable kick to be given that role. And to be given that role in your first season of footy is a pretty big tick. So I think you guys have got another one there that hopefully you've unleashed there. So we'll give him one. And I wasn't sure about this bloke because I'm not sure if he fits into the category, but he doesn't feel like he's been around that long, but I think he has. Is Buku Karmas. The role he played on Liam Ryan, and he's 26, but I feel like he came into the game late, so I think we can still slide him into this one, Jim. But I'll give him a special mention for that reason. The role he played on Flying Ryan, who the previous 2 weeks had kicked 11 goals, taken an absolute screamer, had done all sorts and basically helped St Kilda get a couple of good wins, and he shut him down, and it helped his team win a game that they needed to win. So he's another one. And then I just love watching this bloke play. He is absolute dynamite for Fremantle, and he's actually an important part of what Freo are doing, and that's Murphy Reid. He's just an absolute freak, this kid. He's going to be a Brownlow medalist. I reckon he'll win one before Harley. Only because Harley's probably going to get suspended every year, so...
I like that. I like that a lot. I love Murphy Reid. He is so good. Every time he touches the ball, something good sort of usually tends to happen. Very fun. Some quick nah-s. Right, Jez, can we just do the 24-game season and just not deal with the hoopla around it? Yeah, nah.
No, I reckon we do a 19, 18-game season, wild card, and 2 separate weeks of State of Origin.
Nice.
Everyone plays each other once.
I do like everyone plays each other once, off you go, a couple of weeks of State of Origin, and then watch the broadcast partners throw a hissy fit and the Players Association not ratify it, and away we go.
It's a pipe dream, but
do you reckon
24 is probably right. Get rid of the buys.
Yeah, I think we just get rid of the buys and sort of just I think we'll be all right. Do you think, perhaps, I don't know, pontificate that Nasiah Wanganeen-Millera is regretting staying at the Saints despite all the cash? Yeah, nah.
Right now, yeah. Yeah, and I think something will have to change pretty quickly for him to... I mean, he probably just, remember like old DuckTales, like Scrooge McDuck just dives into his cash off a diving board and forgets about it for 5 minutes. But putting that aside, he wants to win. Surely that every footballer wants to win. And he's taken the bag and he's made his bed. He's going to have to lie in it. But I reckon he's probably having second thoughts going, did I make the right call?
At the same time, only a 2-year deal, right? So he's only got – it's a bit of a prove-it year from the Saints. They tried to, and then they've just been whacked sideways with all these injuries. And then he's been very, very good. He's been worth,
absolutely.
I'd say, most of the money. But they are 6-9. Nice. They're 12th, tied, 6 wins with GWS and the Blues. And on the outside looking in, it's sort of like same old Saints, which is kind of a bit, ooh, that's probably not great.
Let me anyway, flip this one around a little bit. If they're in the same spot this time next year, would he sign for less somewhere else to win?
I think this is also the way that salary cap will work, right? Like probably another team will go into next season assuming that they can carve out enough cap space to throw the absolute bag at Naz. So It would be funny if Butters leaves Port and then a year later they get Naz. They're just like passing ships in the night. But anyway, is Bont a chance at his first Brownlow this year, Jez? Yeah, no.
I'm going to say an outside, because I think they've changed the rules for Nick Dacos to win one, and he's holding up his end of the bargain. But if the Dogs win more games than they lose for the rest of the year, and it's hard to get 3 votes when you lose, so the Pies are... I'd say he's probably... I wouldn't say he's as good a chance as any, but he's up there. Yeah, he would be probably my 3rd or 4th favourite. Yeah.
Nice. I guess next week we'll have to do the 2/3 of the season Brownlow picks. And I believe you've got a in here as well, Jess.
So, given the talk of Josh Fraser and the Carlton job, which you would have to say, unless something goes horribly wrong, he's got to be the front runner, whether he says he wants it or not. If you're an experienced candidate for one of these jobs, say John Longmire and Adam Simpson, Ken Hinkley, Nathan Buckley, you could probably name a few others, are you going to put your hand up for one of these 2 jobs? Essendon, obviously, with the herd thing hanging over it, and Carlton, who seemingly would shoot themselves in the foot by not going with Josh Fraser right now. Would you just say, nah, I'm good, and hold off for the Tassie job? Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'd take the Tassie job in a heartbeat if I was one of those coaches. Like, you've got way less pressure. You can build the list the way you want it. You can set a culture. Essendon and Carlton not exactly like the world's most stable culture clubs out there, right? Like, they try to like put up this facade and image of like, we know what we want to be, and it's a bit like that's not what you are. We all kind of know it, right? And as soon as like, what is it, like adversity shows you like the true colors of everybody, essentially, and like you've seen it time and time again with Essendon, and the same with the Blues as well, right? As soon as it goes sideways, the knives are out.
And the other thing is, it's with both of those clubs, the average lifespan of a coach these days is 2 to 3 years. So even if Josh does well and gets the job, things could turn on their head with a couple of injuries, and in 18 months' time, he could be on his way out the door. And same with whoever, if Essendon do end up going with, let's say, for argument's sake, Dean Solomon, or the herd comes in and it all hits the fan again, which is high. You know, these guys are still going to be there. So if they don't get the Tassie job, which I think they'll probably announce someone next year because they're coming in 28, so I reckon you'll probably have an announcement, maybe even later this year, so that they've got, you know, a year to start spruiking and talking to potential recruits and all that sort of stuff. The other side of it, so, you know, whoever misses out on that, there's still going to be openings in the next year or two. You know, there's obviously North, St Kilda could be another one. The Bulldogs, depending on how their season goes from here. Anything can happen. But Tassie, like you said, I think you'd take that in a heartbeat, because you've probably got that. Yeah, everyone seems to get signed to these 5-year deals where you can build your thing. You've actually got that, and we saw that with Leon Cameron, Kevin Sheedy to Leon Cameron at G. He probably got extra because it was a building club. Guy McKenna got his full 5 years at the Gold Coast. So it's probably almost a guaranteed 5-year job if you do get it. So.
Yeah. And I think those experienced ones as well, right? Like they're probably on their last go round. Bucks maybe not so much,
even
but like
Adam
the likes of,
I reckon he's young enough.
Meyer and co, like they're sort of like, we're right. But yeah, Adam Simpson's probably got another, big run in him as well. But yeah, it's interesting. But I don't know. As a paid up Tassie Devils, member, I'm all Tassie. Let's go.
You're in the shipping container business age. Move on.
I love playing hide and seek. Extreme hide and seek. Round 16 preview. Last week's results, I think we only had two different. We managed to split them. So I think Jez still leads me by the 2 or 3. I do have to do the final tally. My spreadsheet does like one weird little thing randomly in one of the columns, and it's frustrating. But anyway, we'll get to that at some point. Got an absolute, there's a few crackers in this week, which is very, very fun. Starting with Thursday night footy, Jez. The reigning premiers, the back-to-back reigning premiers, taking on one of those teams they smashed in the grand final. Brisbane take on Sydney. What a game. 1.5 point favourites, the Lions. Let's go. Who do you like in this one?
I'm going to take the Lions. I think they've bounced back just before their bye. And I think they're starting to play some good footy. And I think the injuries, this might be the game where the injuries hurt a little bit for Sydney. We'll see. Yeah.
It is a tricky one. I'm going to take Brisbane, I think, to win as well. I think the home ground vibe. The Swans coming off the bye. Brisbane coming off the bye. I trust the Lions just that hint more maybe at home. I love Sydney, obviously, thinking they're probably not going to lose again, but I feel like the Lions just need to sort of turn that corner, and this might be it. So
I think Justin McInerney, old 20-2, I think he's a big out for Sydney, and I think this is the sort of game where he comes into his own because they have the midfields match up so well, but he seems to be that outlier who can push forward and still have an impact. And I think that's probably going to... Plus, Brisbane have got someone to combat Brodie Grundy. Like Sam Draper's, he's found his fit with Brisbane. He's starting to play some good footy. And I think they're starting... They're another one who, we were a bit worried about them a few weeks ago, but they're starting to, as we should have known they would under Chris Fagan, they're starting to, piece everything together, and I think they're going to be, I think they're like Adelaide. I think they're going to start building from here on.
Yeah, a couple of Ashcrofts, off they go. They should be fine. It should be an awesome game, though. I'm looking forward to that one. I think old mate is out. I think she's out for Thursday. So I'm like, aha, beers on the couch. You beauty. Yeah. Friday, we've got Hawthorn GWS, another really fun, weird game. The Hawks are 21.5 point favourites here, Jez. This is a very odd game. How are you vibing Hawks GWS?
I think that line's too high. And not because I've got any faith in GWS, but they also have the ability to put 14 goals in a quarter on the reigning premiers. So, and they did do a pretty big number on Hawthorn in opening round, or T-1 round, or whatever you want to call it. I'm actually going to take the Giants to cover. I think Hawthorn will win, but I'm going to take the Giants to cover. They seem to be a week on, week off sort of team at the moment. I'm going to take them to cover. Just.
This is the same team that beat the Brisbane Lions by
70-odd points.
82 points or whatever.
I just can't get over that team kicked 14 in a quarter. That's out of control. The only time I've ever seen better than that was one of the early games that Essendon played against Gold Coast. I think it was their first year even. And they kicked 15 goals, 6 in the first quarter at Marvel. I don't think Gold Coast scored until halfway through the second.
I'm going to take Hawthorn. I thought they were pretty good the other night against my beloved Suns. And I think GWS at the G, I think the Hawks under the light should be a little bit too good. And sort of
I think this will be a good game. I think this will be a good game. I hope so.
I'm just more worried after GWS so closely against the Blues where you're like, wow, I don't know if we're that much better than them. What the hell? Speaking of the Blues, I'll be at this one with the Squid. Carlton, 32.5 point favourites against the Eagles. We don't have Charlie Curnow on our team anymore. So we don't have someone who's probably going to kick 10 goals against the Eagles.
Brodie Kemp could kick 1 goal 9, though.
Yeah, he was.
Would he have 1-5?
Put his hand up pretty. I think there was a moment where he's like kicked 4 points straight where you're just like, I don't know how you keep missing these. These are not angry. I'm just disappointed, but I'm also angry. The Blues, 32.5-point favourites. I think I'll take it. I don't. The Eagles at Marvel, like the Eagles aren't bad. No. But the Eagles at Marvel might be a little bit. So their last 4 games, they lost to the G by 10 points in that Collingwood-Pendlebury game. They beat your Dons over at Optus. They lost by 6 to Port in that crazy game, lost by a point to North, and then had their bye. So it's a bit of a trap. I might actually take West Coast to maybe cover.
Yeah, This could be the week that they don't turn up, but it could also be the week that they do something ridiculous and either win or almost win. So I'm going to take West Coast as well.
Yeah, I want to sort of look at their record at Marvel over the last little bit.
I think they played Melbourne there earlier in the year and got within that line. It would have had a similar line, and they covered. So I think the teams like Carlton and Melbourne and that don't play Marvel regularly, they really struggle to use the pace of the ground. So I think. Yeah, look, I think Carlton will win, but I think the Eagles will definitely cover. So,
yeah. So this year they got smashed by 101 by St Kilda back in round 7, 143-42. Then Melbourne beat them by 32 back in round 9 as well. It feels like they've sort of turned their season around a little bit though since those 2 games.
Yeah, I think. I don't
know. Yeah, I'll take.
I'm not confident.
32.5.
Yeah. Let's give it a go.
Blues win. Hopefully, just keep it at arm's length, and it'd be really nice if they smash them. I was wrong.
Have you got the boys a harmonica? Would you like me to drop a couple off?
I think we've got one floating around that I've confiscated at least 4 times.
100% need to take that with you.
Collingwood minus 37.5 against Richmond on Saturday afternoon at the G. Pies. Do you trust them to cover 38 points, Jez? Yeah, nah.
I
really?
think
interesting. I'm going to take the Pies.
I'm going to back the Tigers to cover that.
Tigers couldn't score this week.
No,
it was brutal.
Actually, no.
And that was
It's either going to be a similar game to the North game, or it's going to be a big blowout. And the more I think about it, if the weather's good, which I believe it's going to be. Actually, no, I'm going to switch out to Collingwood.
Easy. Port Adelaide showdown. 22.5 point underdogs are the power. I'd love a good showdown. And I think, again, after we get back from the Blues game, I think old mate has got a thing with one of her mates. So, again, this is
on the couch.
On the couch.
Hell
yes, let's go. Showdown. I've got to go the Crom. I know that these games are usually pretty tight, but the Power have just been
garbage,
brutal, like real bad. So they've got the one game that they beat West Coast in, and otherwise it's just been shocking. So I'm going to go the Crom.
Even though I think Port are garbage, I also said this before the last showdown, and it was a 1-point margin or within a goal.
That's right.
So I'm actually going to take. This is one of those games, and for a long time Anzac Day was like that, but obviously we haven't held up our end of the bargain for a while. But it's one of those games, and I think Carlton Collingwood's another one as well. That whenever they play it, more often than not, it seems to be ladder positions are irrelevant. Hawthorn Geelong's another one as well. So I'm actually going to take Port to cover. I think this could be another one of those close ones, kept close for most of the game, and Adelaide will do enough. But yeah, I'm going to take the pair to cover.
I'm going the Crom because they beat them in the second showdown last year after only winning the first one by 5. They won the second one by 98.
You're just trying to talk me out
yeah.
of my picks with every.
I should just shut
You
my big
should.
dumb mouth.
Nah, you know what? I've got a couple up on you. I'm going to stick with Port.
Sunday, we've got the Roos, 14.5-point favourites against your beloved Essendon. I can't say North Melbourne quicker.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, I'm going 14.5 is not anywhere
Although we
near
did
enough.
cover against Melbourne in our last game. But
I think, this is a different kettle of fish. This is at Marvel. And
North
again,
do play Marvel.
Spoiler alert, my sleevo is the over of this game again, which I think hit back last time you guys played in like round 3. So I'm going there again. So I'm going the Roos. I think, it's a lot of points, free flowing.
I think if it was 24.5, I'd be tempted, but even then I'd probably take North. I just hope I would love nothing more than for us to cover or even win. Do I think we can do it? No. So
nice. And we finish off out west for a late game, 5:10 on Sunday.
I don't mind that.
Freo Gold Coast. That's a really fun one. Here for it. Suns, can they rock up? They're
Coast Suns.
27.5 point underdogs of the Suns out west against Freo, who have won. That is still obviously below the 27th parallel, even out west, because it's not that far north. So what do you think is going to happen in this one, Jez? Can you take the 27.5 if you're Gold Coast? Can you trust them? I don't know if I can. I'm a bit worried about my beloved Suns.
Gold Coast have got this weird knack of losing the game in the first half, but making it look like it was close. And there's a lot of games where they've been completely out of it at three-quarter time, but it's been within that scoreline. And you go, oh, they did okay then. But they didn't, because they were, whoever they've played have just taken their foot off the gas, and Gold Coast have gone, oh, we can get ball easier now. I reckon they can cover. I don't think they'll win it. And Freo, this could be one of those games though, Jim, where with the dysfunction that's clearly happening at Gold Coast, if Freo start to kick straight, this could be 100-point. You saw what they did to North. Like, all they need to do is just get a big sniff of a big win, and they'll just roll with it. So, yeah, I think Gold Coast will cover, but don't be surprised if this is a blowout.
Yeah, they go full Oasis and roll with it. So I'm going to go the Suns. These two teams, I think Gold Coast have covered this number each of the last 5 games that they've played. The last game they played was a 1.1 out in Freo, 79-80. Before that,
that was a final.
It was like 11 points. That one was last year. No, last year it was.
Yeah,
and that's right. And then you've got they've all been pretty close the last couple of years. So I'm going to go with Gold Coast just to keep it interesting.
I hope it's a good game. They match up well on paper, so we'll see what happens.
It's a great uniform. Uniform matchup is amazing as well. Depending on which one they roll out, but the purple and the orange, it's a field day for the colourblind.
Up against the orange and yellow would be.
Sign me up. The buys this week, we got Geelong, the D's, the Saints, and the Dogs.
I feel like there's 4 teams that need a buy, like probably as much as anyone.
Most definitely. Well, 3 of the 4 lost.
So. But I'm talking injuries, especially St Kilda. Whew.
Yep. So I think you've got me by 2 picks at the moment across the season against the spread, 64-62. It might be 65-62. I've got to check. Slevo's Punters Club for this week. As I mentioned, spoiler alert, it was already going to be North Essendon over because not much defence in that one for me. I don't even know what the number is. I don't know if you can make it high enough. I don't think they'll have a number just yet because it's only Tuesday. But what about you there, Jez?
I am going to go with Harry Mackay to kick 5+.
Oh, that's mine. The Harry McFive. Can't believe you've stolen my thunder. That's awesome. Big H. I'll be there cheering him on.
And I'm sure
Harry
the
McFive.
way he's been playing, that'll probably get you a tasty little bounty if you were to. I'm going to have a quick squeeze at Sportsbet now, Jim, because I'm curious. So where are we? We're the Carlton and so you've gone
and North Essendon.
Yeah.
North Essendon is 174.5 as well. So yeah, I'm smashing that. That's nowhere near.
Harry Mackay to get 5+ is paying a juicy $11. I'll be getting on that for sure.
There you go, Scooter. We just paid for all the beers your old man drank.
Oh dear.
Good times. As long as Carlton are winning. All right, so there you go. I've got North Essendon over 174.5. Jez has got Harry McFive up against the Eagles. I love that because, I mean, there's been a blue forward absolute feast. I think Harry kicked 10. Not Harry. Charlie kicked 10 last time. I took the Squid to see them play the Eagles 2 years ago. That was amazing. And I think the time before that, he might have had 9 against the Eagles as well.
I think there's been a lot of players in recent years. I remember Jack Rewalt was one that kicked 10 against West Coast. I think Matthew Lloyd kicked 11 against West Coast once, and quite a few players have kicked bags against West Coast in the last 20 years because they've seemed to have gone from here to here, back to here, and then back down here again. So I think there'll be some pretty interesting outcomes there. I just want to tease forward to next week when we're going to do our Brownlow picks. But just on Bont and Pally, he's currently equal second favourite at $6 with Isaac Heaney on Sportsbet. So obviously Nick Dacos is $3.50 to win. But yeah, it'd be interesting to. We might put together some nars, Jim, about a few of these players being chances and that as well with our picks. So
yeah, just got to look at the schedule, kind of dig into that a little bit. We can probably throw out some ideas, look at some trackers, all the good stuff. But there you go. That's it for the round 15 wrap. I'll press the button. And that's the round 16 preview for you. I love this. Yeah, so we're going to West Coast. It'll be West Coast Carlton. That'll be fun. Can't wait. Good weekend ahead.
I may be going to the North and Essendon game. So, yeah, if you want to catch me and drowning my sorrows after, I'll be nearby.
Love it. Nice one. Well, jump us on the socials. Say g'day. I know, send through any nars you want answered, any questions, any thoughts on the power rankings. It was good to see a bit of debate following that around again.
It escalates quickly, Jim. It escalates quickly. It's quite amusing, but
really does.
Send us through your pick for the Brownlow. Give us your pick. Give us your smoky right now. We want to hear it.
That is.
Send us through who you think's going to win the flag.
If the Suns were going a little bit better, I'd be like, hello, Noah Anderson. Just saying. Despite missing a couple of weeks with his appendix, he's been absolutely awesome. Anyway, but make sure you subscribe on your podcast app, etc. Jump on the YouTube as well. Check that all out because we do throw this up each week there as well. I have got zero time at the moment, so it's just the full episode. So apologies. Sorry, not sorry. But you can see us yelling about the footy each week over on YouTube as well. Anything else there, Jez?
Nah, I'm good. I'm heading up to Ballarat to watch Learmonth again. Learmonth and Bungaree. So it'll be if they can pull it off, the boys, it'll be a big win. They've lost 2 on the trot now after winning the first 7 straight. They've got a couple of tough ones coming up. Bungaree are currently undefeated, so if they can get the job done there, it'll set them up nicely for finals action. But at the moment, they need to get a few more wins under the belt. So
Bungaree, my old stomping ground. That's awesome. Fantastic. I'll be up in Ballarat, I think, on Sunday for my grandma. Her old stomping ground is Bungaree, and so it's also, I think, her 95th birthday.
Happy birthday!
Right, that's it. Until next week. How good is footy? Stay off the rubbish gear. This is Footy Unfilterated. Footy's back. Catch you
See
next
ya.
week.
Cue the harmonica solo.
Cobwebs, dust and cobwebs. What can I win? Dust and cobwebs.